Your mind is limitless. The possibilities are endless. Awaken Your Mind Magic shows you how you can dream limitlessly and live your life on a new level. Susan Kathleen speaks with ordinary people who are living extraordinary lives using the power of their mind.
Silver on the outside, gold on the inside. Silver on the outside, gold on the inside. Silver on the outside.
Abundance, prosperity, and success. There are no limits to what you can dream. Join Susan Kathleen on a journey into your dreams, making a difference and living life on your own terms. This is Awaken Your Mind Magic.
Hello and welcome everyone. My guest speaker today is Martin Arkenstone, who originally comes from Switzerland and is now resident in California, U.S.A. Martin trained as a stonemason, and when he changed direction in his career, he switched to becoming a stone sculptor, a mentor, and an international best-selling co-author of the book LIFEWORKS 2020, How Our Vision Made Us Unstoppable. And apart from being an extremely successful artist, Martin also is a success coach, life coach, advanced law of attraction coach, teaches masterminding, the emotion code, and is an advanced Ho'oponopono practitioner. Martin combines the newest technologies in neuroscience and energy healing to help his clients develop a powerful mindset that focuses on their passion and the life they want to create. He gently guides his clients through their journey and accesses the blueprint of their life, strategies, and tactics to achieve their goals, as well as provide accountability partnerships for successfully accomplishing the everyday tasks it takes to get there. Martin, it's great to have you here with me on Awaken Your Mind Magic today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's certainly a privilege, and we've just been speaking about our time difference, and Martin recommends I should have had a cup of coffee before I started this, and I think he's right. However, we will continue, Martin. I've followed you in your career with great interest and know that you have a very deep and inspiring story to share with us here on Awaken Your Mind Magic. Can you share with us what your shift, your awakening into following your truth to the very successful place we find you in the here and now, Martin?
That's a very deep and good question. I think I had many points in my life that helped me to really hone in on my purpose and doing the things that really brings me joy. And so I maybe going to talk about a couple of those aha moments in my life that I could say, like, maybe even turned my life around 180 degrees and gave me new direction, new choose, to create and be an artist and create, because I believe life is here about creation and is being inspired and seeing things come through. So I think the first really big breakthrough for me was, unfortunately, it was something that my father gave up on, which is creating art. I think it was a big part of his life that he gave up for family and for work, because he was a teacher, and I think that really took a lot of his energy. And but he left a painting set in the attic that I was really curious about. So his giving up his, so to speak, one of his passion allowed me to get access to or continue what he stopped. And I found my passion in creating things and drawing things and painting things and experiencing with things. And I was maybe about 16, 17, 8 years of age. And you just know when you can be up all night and time has no more meaning, and you just keep on going. You're pumped, and you just want to bring an idea to life. And I knew that that was one of my passion, and to be an artist. And so I think that was a really big turning point. So maybe what was my dad's disappointment, maybe in some ways, was for me an inspiration to kind of, what's the word, to experiment with life, to experiment with things that has been putting in my way, and just trying out and being playful and discovering that sometimes can lead to a passion, to discovery of that. Later on in life, a few years later, I was introduced to a stone sculptor, and he told me that was a good thing for me to do. And I had so much fun sculpting my first stone that I also knew this is what I wanted to do. And so I must say I probably been maybe one of the lucky people in life that found the passion right away and was able to not just live that passion, but also make good money off of it. But that was never my main goal, to make the money. I think my main goal was always to be in that zone, when time doesn't matter anymore, and you're just in that phase of creation, and it's just, it's hard to describe that feeling, but when you do something and it's right, it just, everything just flows in the right direction. And yep.
I totally understand there, and I'd like to interject here as well, Martin. As an artist myself, what I'd love to share with you is this feeling of, it's a limitless feeling of creativity that we've been blessed with, and we've actually taken right from the outset and have the ability to use in order to express ourselves. And there I totally can resonate with you. What I would like you to be able to share with the listeners is, you were apprenticed to an extremely cruel, emotional abuser for 3 years. And being the gentle soul that you are, this must have affected you in a very adverse way when you decided to go and train an apprentice as a stonemason before you became the full-time stone artist and coach that you are. Could you share with us a little bit more about this?
Right. There wouldn't be a life without a hero's journey. And I think if everything would be perfect, I think we wouldn't learn anything really. And so I think people like that are put in our lives so we can learn our lesson and move forward. And of course, when you're around a person, my mentor, who was very self-centered, and he could be very forceful and just angry all the time. I think for me, that was a bit much, because I haven't really learned. I was like 17, 18, 19 years of age, and I haven't really learned to say no or to create healthy boundaries, because my parents really didn't know how to do that either. And so it was a really difficult experience for me. And I think that brought a lot of pain, and I needed to somehow ease the pain. And I did what a lot of other people did around in my environment, to drink and smoke and take drugs to kind of escape, as an escape from life that's hard and it's painful. And but I didn't know better. I thought that was life. That was about becoming of age and learning things, and it's part of business, and it's just the life that has been taught to me, and I tried to cope with it as good as I could, because I didn't really know that I could say no to something that to when somebody treats me in a way that's takes away from me, that I could say no to it. And just trying to eat that down causes a lot of emotional stress. And I think for me that made working with art a bit sour, because my initial experience was so exhilarating. And then you have someone who, I call them the energy vampires, who like breaks your dream. It breaks your dream.
Totally. I actually call them shadow gobblers, because I reckon I use the term emotional vampire. However, my personal term is a shadow gobbler, because they even will eat up your shadow, let alone your soul. And when you are a very gentle soul and don't know how to say no and create boundaries, this is a very difficult period, and also leading to your dreams as well, because clearly he psychologically was moving you into believing you weren't good enough. And of course, you are incredible. You talk about living your dreams. What got you going when you decided, no, this is enough, I'm going to travel? Where did you go?
Well, I think right after that, after my apprenticeship, I went to England for about a half a year, and it was really good to get away actually from anything. And I worked on a horse farm for that time, and it was just great for me to have that experience and learn another language, because I didn't know one word of English. And even though I was a big Beatle, well, I'm still a big Beatle fan, and I listened to their music since I was really small, but I never understood their words. So it was really kind of cool to suddenly have a whole new world opening up for me. And I think a part of me wanted to travel the world, and I know that English was really important to have as a communication. So I think that was my first move to just go out in the world and see what else there is, because I just had enough of that. Although I must say that it took me quite a while till I got to the point where I knew it was my choice to say no, and where I learned that a lot of success in life has to do with the people that surround you. And I surrounded myself with people who taught me a skill, but just a professional skill, but not the mindset. The mindset was, to be honest, sick.
Yeah.
It wasn't, a lot of it didn't come from a healthy mind. And I'm not saying these were bad people, not by any means. They just did what they felt like is the best thing to do, what they have learned or were taught before me, when they were growing up. And so they just did the best that they could. And I think that's part of forgiving, is forgiving these people. Part of forgiving and letting go is part of like attracting people into your life that are different, people who are uplifting you emotionally, mentally, that bring a smile to your face when you surround them. And I think those are the people that everybody needs to be successful.
You're so right. Like attracts like. And that is the resonance of energy and the vibration of who you find, who's on the same level as you. talking about horses when you were working with them, were they healing for you? Did they make you feel better?
It's interesting. I was more actually involved in cleaning the muck and also creating, and exactly. And the English, they like to do indoor riding, but they also do outdoor riding, like cross country kind of riding. And I was like building the obstacles and things like that. So I wasn't so much involved into horses, but interesting enough is I married a woman who is a horse. She does horse healings.
Oh, yes.
And she has her own horse. His name is Merlin, and he is just such a sweetheart. And your heart just beats higher when you get close to that horse. So to answer that questions, yes. And not only horses can do that for me, but also cats. I'm a cat lover, and I just have a weak spot for cats.
Well, they are the creatures that walk alone, according to Rudyard Kipling. They do what they do, and they will give you their essence when they choose. So I'm glad that they give you perfect essence. And I love the name of your wife's horse, Merlin, which brings me to talk about your fabulous creativity as a stone artist. And I've had a look. Honestly, everybody, when you are listening to this, do yourselves a favor and go and have a look at Martin's incredible art. It's all beautiful. It's what I would call Celtic. It's or Viking. It's got this incredible resonance. And when I researched Martin, all of his creative works kept on popping up with Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, all of those sort of people. And interesting, the Arkenstone that they talk about in Lord of the Rings made me think, wow, Martin, where are you going from here? This is quite incredible. So this brings me to actually ask you now, when you finished in England and you moved on to Mexico and then on to the USA, where did you find yourself there? How did you get there, and what had you stopping off there?
That's a good question. I love your questions. So I think it was adventure for life, and I also part of me wanted to know what else is out there, and part of me just wanted to get away from the pain and the suffering that I have encountered during my apprenticeship. And I was able to talk English good enough. And I had a friend of mine, a German friend, who asked me, let's go to Mexico. And it was, I think, beginning or late 80s, something like that. And I wanted to go and see and meet Native Americans because I was so interested in their history and especially spirituality, because I think I never quite could connect myself to Christianity. I think there's a part of me, and that may be the Celtic too, because of that, because a part of me maybe has probably pretty much a pagan history too as well. I think that kind of go together. And I think Native Americans are similar that way. They have more like a nature religion, so to speak. So I wanted to know more about that. And I met some incredible Native Americans and had many sweats and was learning from them. And the interesting part is when we went to Mexico, my friend actually dumped me. He thought he doesn't want to travel with me anymore. And that's actually when my adventures really started, when he left. And so it was kind of, even though it was scary because I was somewhere out there in the middle of a desert in Mexico and I didn't really speak Spanish, and he just left and I didn't really know where to go because I didn't have any plans. And I think that's when when life started to happen for me is just somebody told me, hey, go there or see that. And I picked up on that, and I started to meet some people and made some friendships, and actually stayed a whole 6 months in Mexico. And then they invited me back to the United States. And I said, yes, that sounds good to me. I went back to the States and got to know more people. And for some reason, I just attracted these Native Americans to me. And it was, again, learning from them, and did sweat lodges. And that's also when for the first time, I really fell in love and got married. And then at that point, we went back to Mexico, and from there to Switzerland, because I felt like I wanted to reconnect with my family. And I also felt like it was time for me to do art again, to go back and do stonemasonry, or for a lot of people who don't know what stonemasonry is in Europe, it's actually working on, for example, medieval buildings like cathedrals or castles and old city walls and old fountains and restore them. So that's what I was hired for when I came back. Yeah.
So you found your awakening in Mexico through the Native Americans. You know that you come from a source of, let's say, the Vikings. Your Celtic art works in with the Inuit art, and you now have moved into this phase where the beauty of that culture, those cultures, brought you into your creative artistic life. You met the love of your life. You started to move towards your truth. When you got back to Switzerland and you made this decision, okay, I am a stonemason. However, I want to be the artist I was born to be. How did that feel, Martin?
Excellent question. I think traveling was good for me for a while, to be away for a couple of years, but I just had that longing to create something, to do something tangible, be part of something. And I think for me to preserve history was something that really agreed to me. And I found that was important, for generations, so they're able to still be able to be in or see something that's been built maybe 100 years ago, or 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, because I think history and our roots are really important to us. And I think because genetically we're tied to way back. I don't know if I'm tied to Vikings, but Celtics for sure. But you just never know. They're coming up with those genetic tests. They're coming up more and more with incredible connections. I don't know how accurate they are, but it's fascinating just to know who your ancestors are, and maybe give you a little bit of insight how part of you ticks,
As a Ho'oponopono practitioner.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am.
Yes, and I appreciate that, because so am I. So what I would love to know is, do you believe that you have created an agreement pre-birth into what you're going to be doing in this life and all the things that happen to you, which brings you through your learning?
Well, I'm at the point where I believe that, there's no such thing as death. There maybe is a physical death, So there is, after this life, for me, I imagine that life in some ways continues, and that at one point we have a choice to become or be in a body again, to manifest as something physical again. And yes, that we might choose what we need to learn next to advance in our soul, to move forward. I think, yes, that is possible. I can't prove that scientifically, but I do strongly believe that yes, I really can see the point to choose a certain lesson in life and say, hey, I'm here to do this. And of course, when you're born, you forgot. You don't remember. However, in what I have learned in energy healing is that some people, what they call beyond the veil, it's like when you already set a lesson for yourself, when you come down, that some people do remember, and some people are held back by that because they knew it's not going to be easy to be here. Being here on Earth, it's not meant to be easy in a way, to learn, but some people oppose that, and it can hinder them in a way of like moving forward in life. So yes, my answer is yes to that.
As a successful artist, what was your first most creative piece that you sold? Have I caught you on that question?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Again, yes, I just have to think because I sold so many pieces, and I think with each of these pieces, I have a relationship because my energy, my life goes in it, and so it's almost kind of like a baby. And then you let go of the baby, and you hope that it finds a home or somebody who is going to appreciate or find inspiration from it. And I think for me, any pieces are like that, And I even have pieces that I don't give away because I'm still kind of like, I love it and I'm not ready to part from it yet. So I think I can't really answer that question of saying there is a particular piece. I think the one that I was most proud of, to say that, is the first piece I ever made, and I gave that to my mother. And she still has it yet. She lives in Spain, and she still has that piece, and she tends to it, and every once in a while she shows me and how proud she is that she has it. So that means a lot to me.
It's so lovely because, again, I can resonate with that, because when I do an artwork, create an artwork, I've always talked about them as my children. And when the adoptee comes to take your child away, it's quite heartbreaking because it's a piece of your soul, a piece of your spirit. Much of your energy is in each piece that you create. So being a stone sculptor and putting that energy into a stone must be fantastic, like fairyland to me.
Well, it's also a lot of hard work, that goes into it. And it has a lot to do, because stone is hard and it takes quite a bit of energy and impact with hammer and chisel to chisel away what doesn't belong, so you get to the form that you want to create. And I think that is sometimes it takes a lot of perseverance and patience, and as well as faith, to get there, and a portion of like just trust, and something that is also really important in creating art is being able to get out of the way and just trust in your capabilities to exactly create the pleasing shape that you want. And it's not something that you can measure. You just get there, and then you know when you to let go. And I think that's in a lot of times, it's also like selling a sculpture. I think sometimes in life you have to give something up to create something bigger. And I think, I'm not saying that you have to give up everything, because if you have something that you love, why not enjoy it for a while, you know? But sometimes it's just good to clean out and give things away because other people can enjoy it.
Totally. Do you believe in decluttering, talking about cleaning out?
Yes, and that starts within yourself. I think that was one of my big breakthroughs in life, is decluttering. And the way I done that is I learned how to do emotion code. I don't know if you have heard of that before. And I just read the book, and I knew I had to do that. I had to be certified, not in the first thought to like help other people's, but I felt like I needed to clean my own canvas. You know, as an artist, I kind of see it that way. You know, when you're in life and you're born with almost a clean slate. I mean, there's always stuff that you get inherited, but when you grow older, that canvas, you know, your art canvas, you know, is getting painted by other people, you know, constantly, because they're going to tell you how to live your life. And that's how they soil it, so to speak. And I think at one point, if you really want to create art, you're going to have to first clean that. You know, if you want to create be yourself and create your own life and live your passion, there's a lot to clean. To make that possible, to actually invite inspiration in your life, sometimes we have to wipe slate clean. And so that is, I'd say, something that I really needed to do as well.
Your advice to your clients as an incredibly good coach is to do this. Do you work in helping them, having trained as an advanced law attraction coach? Do you get them to do that and then create their dream, their vision for their life? And how do you go about that?
Well, what I do a lot, I mean, it always depends where a client is. You know, your objective is to fill in the gap. So from where they are, from where they want to go, and then fill in the gap. And a lot of times, to even be able to move forward, you got to work with the past or let go of that. And I think energy healing is one. There's so many methods to be able to do that. And what I do with my customers a lot, I'm working on their heart first, which in emotion code, it's called that most people have is a heart wall. And a heart wall is something that we build up, like kind of like in a visual, you know, build an armor around ourselves so we don't get hurt. Especially like, you know, for me, I built up my heart wall because I had a really aggressive mentor, and I needed to make myself numb and guard myself from the outside with an armor. And for me, it was like marble. You know, I just put marble around my heart, and so he couldn't hurt it, or just general people couldn't hurt it. And so I think to be able to really freely move in your life, a lot of them, it's very helpful to bring down that heart wall and take any emotional issues that guard that heart, to remove that, to release it, that the person even gets to a place where they are in touch with themselves and make decisions in life that are for their good, you know, for their growth. You know, a lot of times we make decisions just based on on a difficult experience that will guard us or protect us, but not really move us forward.
I hear you there, and it's extremely good advice that you've spoken and shared with us here. When you say you bring down your wall of marble or your armor, what do you recommend the person that you're coaching, your client, do in order to not be vulnerable or to be a facilitator?
Well, once you open your heart, I think it's important to know to live a life in integrity. And I just can quote, and I just totally love the book, The Four Agreements. You probably heard about that before, to be impeccable with your word. And I think that's important to walk your talk and also not take things personally. Because it's never, when somebody gets angry about you, and I didn't know that when I had my mentor, is that it's never about you. It's always about the other person. He had some kind of issues and he projected it onto others. And I didn't know that then, that he actually got angry, not because of me. So that's another thing really important to know, that you don't have to take on other people's stuff. If somebody reacts on you, it's never about you. And I think what's also important is to don't make assumptions. Ask if you're unsure about something, ask the other person, where they are, what they feel, what they think, and don't make assumption, because it'll definitely create judgment, and people take actions that are not necessarily always helpful on both ends, And then, of course, do always your best, have a winner mentality. I think that's important to never give up. If you have an inspiration, you love to do something, you want to go for it, just don't give up. Because there is no giving up. If you want to get to reach your goal, then failure is part of moving forward.
I hear you there. You talk about providing accountability partnerships.
I do that.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm the most passionate about is masterminds. And masterminds, because I studied Think and Grow Rich for quite a while. And I think that was another one of my breakthroughs in life to actually see how creating art and creating the life of your dreams are so very similar, even the same principles. And I think Think and Grow Rich really showed me that.
Actually, Think and Grow Rich is one of the books that was that I had to read when I was personally studying as a transformational coach. And it's like you say, it's an eye opener. I mean, it's an old book. It is an evergreen book, and I agree with you there. It is one of the most powerful books you can possibly read, that brings you to understand that you should not suppress the creativity or whatever it is that's your passion, because that is really what's going to get you your bucks, baby, get you rich, because you're going to be happy doing it. You want to do it. Is that what part of your mindset coaching is?
So yes, the big part is using the principles of Think and Grow Rich. I don't need to reinvent self-development industry. It's like the answer's already there, and the answers were there even before Napoleon Hill, and I think that new world, or I think you call it new world thinking, has been around for quite a while. And that's why some people got pissed off by The Secret, because suddenly somebody comes up and says, hey, there's a secret and all that stuff. But that information been out there for so long before that. And it's true. And I think that the tools are there, and I weave them into just mentoring people that life is about having fun with your process. It's kind of like creating a piece of art. And there are moments where we have ideas and it doesn't always go the way we want it, because you have to practice and there's going to be failure. And each time we do it, it gets better and better and better. I mean, Michelangelo, who actually was Leonardo da Vinci. He actually, I think he was like painting for 15 years or something like that before he started with Mona Lisa. I mean, life is a lot about practice and perseverance. And we know in neuroscience that it takes 30 to, John Ashraf even says 52 days to create a new habit. And I also heard that for every bad habit or thought you had, you actually need about 3 to 4 good thoughts to nullify that and to create a new good habit.
You were talking about New World, New Age, and I had such a smile and epiphany when you were saying that, because I'm a baby boomer, and I was very, very young in the 60s, under the age of 10. And I can still remember the age of Aquarius and the hippies and the flower children. And they were all talking about all of this new age stuff that a lot of people throw at us and say is woo woo and everything else. However, even The Secret, all of these come from ancient learning, and that goes back to the Native Americans, to the Celtic shamans, to all of these people, and Middle Eastern beliefs, Buddhism, and things like that. Even into the Quran, and you go into the great grandmaster Jesus, and that's in the Bible. So all of these things have been there for us all to learn. And we now, with COVID-19 as well, are starting to open ourselves up more and more to what this reality is. And this is a very exciting period in all of our lives, where instead of being filled with despair, we have this ability to do just what you did, become this incredible creative because you followed your dream. Martin, when you talk to me and to the audience about this, it makes my heart lift, because you're putting a message out there to so many millions of people all over the world that it is not impossible to reframe and change where you were to where you are right now. So many people are losing jobs. So many people don't know what to do. However, there are so many people who are natural planters of vegetables, or fabric creators, artists, writers. Talk more about your feelings on this new period in our lives.
I totally agree with you. There couldn't be any better time. And I think that's why we have possibly so many souls on this planet, because this is a cornerstone in humanity. I mean, I think there has never been so much information. There's never been so much connectiveness, and I mean, people can connect instantly, and there's a big pool of information you can tap into, and people can talk about law of attraction and can talk about so many things. The information is out there, and I think it's just for you out there to tap into and do something with it. There's the instruction manual is out there. And I think when I studied a bit of history, because it was also part of my work, medieval times, and people didn't always have access to that information. And a lot of times, in century, it got repressed by certain institutions. I don't want to get political, and we kind of almost lost that information, and it's been kept safe by Native Americans. It's been kept safe by a few, and secretly taught. That's what I believe, till it found some way back to the surface, because I think it's just like this information is something that it's life. You know, it's the irrefutable laws of nature that you can't just get around. You know, you can't just, as humans, we can't just create our own rules and just think, you know, everything else will follow us. You know, the whole planet will just do what we're saying. You know, there is a law out there that we have to respect and live by, because that's how the universe is built. And when we start to refuse to live by that nature, then things get very uncomfortable. And I think that's what we're experiencing right now in this time and age, that we're having so many more challenges, you know, viruses, climate change, people lose their jobs. I think it's just, the list just goes on and on and on and on, and we're pushed out of our comfort zone all the time. It's like there's not, so to speak, one rock standing on top of each other for very long, and things get mixed up very quickly, and we have to change very quickly if we want to survive this. And we can, I believe we really can. And that's why I really believe it's so important that we work together as a whole, because this earth, this ship we are on, you know, only can go in one direction. And I think right now there are so many countries that just try to steer in a different direction, and it tears things apart, and we have to find ways to unify. And, you know, politics are very tricky. And I think, but what we can do is start with ourselves and really become people who become self-aware and learn to overcome you know, to get out of our shackles of the past, and get together and work towards a life or a planet that people really step into their purpose and fulfill what they came here for, because I think it's everybody's God-given right to do the things that they love to do.
Totally. And you know something I picked up? You talked about it being the cornerstone of our reality. And using the word cornerstone as a stonemason is a foundation of a new period in all of our lives. I love that. I can see you creating a program called Martin Arkenstone's Cornerstones. When we were speaking about all of this, is this what you call your higher nature, where you have this epiphany and understanding of all that's going on now?
Good question. A higher nature. I think I'm just grateful in life that I'm coming to a place where I am more and more witnessing what's going on outside of me, and witnessing what my thoughts are, what my feelings are, and what my body is. You know, it's not something that I am, but it's something that I have, and it's a tool, and to find being a manifestation, material manifestation, to be able to have these kinds of experiences, what good and what we call good and bad, what hurts and what brings us joy, that we're able to have this. So we have this growth and a higher nature. I think we're born with a higher nature. We just forgot that we have a higher nature, and we live a lower nature. We live out under our abilities because we're being taught a limited mind and limited mindset of what we can and what we can't do. And I think everybody is or has a higher purpose, and it's your choice to live it or not.
Tell us about your quote, "True belonging is who we are without our stories. It's living an inspired life."
So that's great quote that I actually kind of got from Byron Katie. You probably, maybe some of you know Byron Katie's work, For a Question and a Turnaround, and I've been with the work now for about almost 20 years. And she has written her latest book, A Mind at Home with Itself. And again, which is really, again, is like knowing that your stories that you carry around with yourselves are not really real. They're not you. It's something that you carry with you. And when you have a story that is really painful or doesn't bring you joy, then you have something that you need to investigate. Ask yourself the questions, are those things really true? However, on the other hand, if you have a good story that you really enjoy, go out there, play with it, do something with it, create something with it. I think that's what I see with that is, kind of let go of your story and live your life and see what comes towards you.
I'm a great believer in being a storyteller. And what I love about you, Martin, is your story, whether it's a good part of the story or whether it's been what's been a lesson. I don't even like to use the word bad because it wasn't a bad part. It may have been in the time, but it was a lesson of learning that you've turned around and you use it for your empowerment in order to get your story across as to why you are this incredible man, this amazing creative, and also a fantastic coach. Further to that, talking about stories, you are a best-selling author. Tell us more about being a best-selling author and your book.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The way I actually achieved that is because I was a part of a mastermind that's purpose was to become a bestseller. And I felt really challenged, or I didn't actually feel like I could write a book because I didn't see myself as a writer. I saw myself as an artist, as a stone sculptor. And writing was always a bit difficult for me, especially because I'm dyslexic, and it creates all kinds of... It's created in the past when I was in school. It was always really painful for me to write, and you had to correct it again. So it just took me way longer than other students to write. So but I thought, I still want to express myself and I still want to share my story. And one of the best ways to tell it is through a book. And so my mastermind challenged me put me on this challenge, let's write a book together. And for me, it was like, okay, let's do it. I want to do it. I want to learn to do that. Plus, I had already people in my mastermind that wrote several books. And so they already knew. And I thought, if I just, hold on to that, if I'm surround myself with people who were writing a book successfully, they're going to teach me, or they're going to show me how to do it. And I thought, well, it's probably going to take me about a year. And we agreed to a half a year. And there was a lot of resistance in me. But I just started to remind myself, when I create art, just do a little bit every day. Even if it's garbage, even if it lands in the garbage can, just write a page a day. Even if your thoughts are not organized, you can organize it later. And so I did that. I wrote quite a few pages over months, and I was able to condense that. And I actually was one of the 10 people in my mastermind who submitted my first draft. So, I thought I'm probably going to be like the last one who's going to send it in, because I wasn't the writer, but it turned out I was quite the writer. And it was so good to have help to do that, to have people with me on this journey to create this, especially because it's very special, because it comes out of this time of COVID. We actually didn't mean to, but because we started in February, and then in March it kind of hit here, the COVID, but it kind of came out of that, the need to for change, for a shift, to find other ways that were better ways, and I think that's why we called it, How Our Vision Made Us Unstoppable, because we could see past that COVID is an issue, for people to be successful. On the contrary, it's a chance to do things different. And I just cannot stress that enough in life, that yes, in anything you do, if you really do it with, if you really pick something that you feel passionate about, is there will be hurdles, there will be places where we screw up, but that doesn't mean it stops. It goes on from there, and we can get better from there. And I think, and that's what this book is about. It's about how you can actually create even a better life because of this, because it gives us a chance to do things different. And I think when we get the awareness that we have that it is under our control to control how we feel and how we think, we can steer this boat towards a direction that I think generations and generations will enjoy to live here.
Absolutely. And I love that you've done that. And in particular, that it's published in this time, because it does uplift people who read it. And I highly recommend you go and find it. It's on Amazon, and you will have the links in the bottom of this recording. Martin, you mentioned you were a 6-figure earner and not happy. And this brings me to ask you, what is the meaning of happiness to you?
Very good question. So when you go back to the point where I made quite good money, but I wasn't happy, I found, and I find that now too, is you can't just focus yourself on one part of life. Like, I focused a lot on my career because it was also an escape, and I was a workaholic because I have not been taking care of my self-development spiritually, personally, and physically. And I think that was a lack. I know now better, and I incorporate the wheel of life into my daily tasks, you know, that I do every day, something for all those parts in life that are important. Like, yes, making money is important because it can make life much easier when you have money. But it's not just about money. It's also about relationship, maybe even your significant other. It can be about your personal health, your spiritual health. It can be things that are fun in life. I mean, it's not always about work. It's also about, you know, do stuff out there that's fun and so on. And I think there's a lot of that I have neglected in the past, that I was feeling not only unhealthy, but also burning out, you know, because I didn't really give myself what I needed. And like I said, there are many different levels. For example, you know, if somebody is rich but really sick, you know, I can't really enjoy it, you know, so health is just as important, even if maybe more important. And so I think to bring that into make all these things matter is what I think brings me the most joy in life.
I love that. What advice would you give to yourself as an artistic, creative child setting out in life?
To myself,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I think I should say that I pat myself on the shoulder and say, job good done. Well done, you know, that I'm on the right way and that I'm doing the right thing, and that I have created a life that I'm getting the help that I, even more than I wished for, that I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have the people around me that I want, and that I have the health, and that I will always have enough money. And I think it's all these little things. I think it's being grateful. I think that really makes the difference. And yes, sometimes life can get tough because you can't control everything all the time. But I think when you have the right mindset, it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. If stock market breaks down and you lose all your money, if you have the right mindset, you can create it again. You know, I think that's really important to love yourself, because as Byron Katie said, you know, you're the love of your life, and I think it's good to be able to recognize that and treat it as that.
Love yourself first. Great advice. What advice as a coach would you give to your clients right now in this time?
Well, I'd say, and I have to quote here Napoleon Hill, because he has a really good quote on that, and I love that. It says, "Quitter never win, and winners never quit." So I'd say is when you are inspired about something, and inspired in a way that it's like it's a burning desire. You know, I want to do that. Go for it. Don't let yourself stop by naysayers or by thoughts in your head that say, well, no, it's going to be difficult, or it's not going to be possible. Oh, I don't have the money or whatever. Then it stops right there. And what happens is someone else will have the idea and will do it. And then you're going to be resentful and jealous that someone else made it. And it's just going to show you what kind of a loser you are. So what I would say is, don't let that guard that with your life. When you get something that you love, guard it with your life, and surround yourself with people that will help you to make this thing grow, whatever it is that excites you in life. I think that's really what it takes to be successful. And when I say, again, successful, for everybody, success is something different. Not everybody wants is focused on money only or whatever, it's like it can be for everybody different. But successful in any means to be able to successful in creating reaching any goal you want, I think it is so important to have people around you that support you with this and uplift you with this and go cheer you on, because sooner or later we'll fall off the bandwagon, and we need some people who pick us back up and put us back on and say, don't give up, you have a great idea. I'm sure we'll find a way to get through it and find a way to make this happen, because I want to see you succeed. And because, again, seeing somebody else succeed means that a lot of people can be inspired by that journey and reflect themselves and see, wow, they can do it. I see a possibility that I can do it too.
So again, it's putting yourself with like-minded people where you see they're successful and you understand that, and you can have the confidence to go forward and be equally, if not more, successful. Martin, that's wonderful advice. And I would like to ask, do you by any chance have any coaching calls, any what I call strategy calls where somebody can contact me? Do you have anything like that you offer to the listeners right now?
I do strategy sessions to always see, if a person can be a fit for several reasons. One of them is people who do want to move forward in life and feel they're stuck and they're sick and tired where they are, and they want to finally create a life that a life they can be proud of. Like I say, it's like in the book, in the part of the book, my chapter is about that everybody's an artist. I believe that everybody is an artist, and your masterpiece you're creating is your life. And I'm helping people to create that masterpiece, because I think there is no time to waste to start to create that, because I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's worth, and the main thing is it's the journey, the joy to get there, and so that's what one of the strategy session is, to find out where the person is and where the person wants to go to and fill the gap. And as we spoke on earlier too, sometimes people just like to work emotionally. And it's also something that offer is to help people to clean that canvas, to wipe that slate clean and help them to release those trapped emotions from the past so they can actually move forward. And sometimes that goes hand in hand, because I always believe that it's so much easier when a person has less weight to carry around with. And you will see that when you do have a free heart, that it's just life sparks more. There's like this spark when your heart is free. There is this spark to be open to whatever it is, that you will find it or it will find you.
And you are the one who's going to help them find it with your strategy calls, so they know where to find you once you tell the listeners how to contact you. Can you let us know?
Right. You can go on my website for my art. It's martinarkenstone.com. And the other website, unfortunately, I have some issues with this. I'm going to have a technician looking at it. It's just kind of like interesting, the timing, but it will be your Awakenings to Miracles. And you also can reach me through if you're a person who is on my on Facebook, you can reach me there as well. I also have a website there or a page which is called Martin A. Arkenstone. And you can find me, or you can just find me as Martin Arkenstone, and you always can send me a text or a message, a private message.
Brilliant. I do have your other contacts on Amazon where they can find your book, Instagram, LinkedIn. So that will all go in with your description on
and my email, probably. Yeah.
And your email is there as well. So it'll all be there for them to find you. And I do recommend to the listeners, go and have a strategy session with this wonderful, gentle soul. He's an incredible man, and he's well worth getting to know. Martin, thank you so much for being on Awaken Your Mind Magic today and sharing your powerful story and message to the world, in particular in this time of COVID-19.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely to be here on on your program, and I enjoyed it so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And I look forward to having many more conversations with you in the future. Thank you. That's Awaken Your Mind Magic for another week. If anything you've heard today has really impacted you and you want to know more, or you would just like to connect with me, then visit my website, awakenyourmindmagic.com, and reach out for a free one-on-one discovery session with me.
Silver on the outside, silver on the outside, gold on the inside. Silver on the outside, gold on the inside. Silver on the outside.
Tune in next week, where I'll be discussing more tools to unlock your dreams and live a limitless life that you would truly love to live. I'm Susan Kathleen, and this has been Awaken Your Mind Magic.